Hello everyone, this is Joanna the Medium. Thank you so much for coming back. These are going to be your messages for the month of November 2018. I want to give you a couple of things before we move on to the messages. First and foremost, thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to do this. My intention is always to give you helpful information that will allow you to know yourself deeply. So whether it is something to think about or something that will allow you to do things differently, or I give you a suggestion or idea, Spirit is here to help you to understand yourself better so that you can have freedom and more choices. Whatever signs you're listening to, whichever is your sign, sometimes you'll be guided to see a sign that doesn't belong to you, and you will find that the information there also applies to you. The way I work with my team is I try to bring information that is of most relevance to everyone in all life, including practical knowledge and practical advice. What I'm trying to say here is listen to your other signs as well as signs you normally wouldn't listen to but you are drawn to. Also, this month, for some reason, I recorded two messages for Gemini. I don't know how I did it. Never have done it before in the last 2.5, 3 years. And I've done them on the same day. It's almost as if I had amnesia. So you will notice that there is a Gemini reading 1 and Gemini message 2, video 1 and video 2. Listen to both. For some of you, both will apply. For some of you, one will apply over the other. I was asked, what do I do with this now? And the suggestion was given to me that I release both of them. So if you're a Gemini, consider this as a bonus month for you, and see which one applies to you, perhaps both. And of course, for any messages that you are looking for, or any inside information on your personal life, these messages are general. You're welcome to connect with me. That information is down below for you. More than anything, I thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing and for sharing. I always am so grateful to be able to do this for you, and it is what brings me a great joy. So thank you so much. If you would like to comment how these messages apply to you, I would love to read them. I wish you best of luck. Take care of yourself and see you soon. Let's move on. Hello, beautiful Cancerians. These are going to be your messages for the month of November 2018. Let me first start off with tuning into your energy and see what I can get before we go through the cards. Some message for some of you is pat yourself on the back. You've done really well despite the challenges. And for some of you, it's despite recent challenges. I feel some of you have been going through a difficult period, a difficult time, one that is marked with the word transitions. Whether it is because you were transiting from something in your life, or someone transitioned from this life to another life, to a different life, to a different energy, someone who's passed on. This is not a future component. This is something that has been. This is a challenge that you have been experiencing for yourself for quite some time. For some of you, it goes back as far as 2 years, or the end of 2018 will mark a 2-year journey for some of you that has been very difficult. For some of you, this has been a physical injury, and I'm actually seeing somebody walking with a cane. So this may symbolize mobility for some of you. Mobility in terms of walking, not being able to drive, not being able to move around, or needing help in order to function in everyday life. For others of you, this is a period of time that was marked by you having to rely on assistance of some sort, whether it be financial assistance, whether it be medical assistance, whether it be emotional assistance, psychological, spiritual, whatever it may be. The month of November for many of you seems to mark a bit of an end to this hurdle, and hurdle that lasts for a period of time is not a comfortable place to be. So what I do want to say is, for those of you who this message belongs to, congratulations, pat yourself on the back. You've done well despite the challenges. For some of you, you are still dealing with those challenges, and you are slowly moving out of some chaotic circumstances. Congratulations to those of you again for making this transition. And this seems to be a transition that was marked for some of you by your choice and for some of you by somebody else's choice. What I do want to say is I hear the words embark on a brand new journey. So November is a brand new journey that is opening up for you, or you are embarking on a new journey. This could be new circumstances. This could be new birth of ideas. This could be a birth for some of you. This could be an immense sense of personal satisfaction that seems to come over you almost unexpectedly. So it's for some of you, it is a feeling that you will feel in the month of November. And I'm actually being taken towards the second part of November. In terms of assistance, those of you who need assistance of some sort, whether it was financial or physical or some other way, I feel that you are getting closer to standing on your own 2 feet again, symbolizing standing strong, feeling independent, feeling strong enough to keep going without whatever assistance you had. Perhaps your circumstances are improving in your home. Perhaps, generally speaking, you are feeling much stronger inside of yourself, psychologically and spiritually and mentally speaking, and physically. And for some of you, you're about to be going through an end of a struggle that lasted for a while. So again, the message is, I see somebody patting you on the back and saying, you've done well despite the challenges. And I see that many of you are tired, and the words I hear is, when is this going to end? So congratulations to those of you who know what the heck I'm talking about. Chances are you will already understand this when you first hear this message, but for those of you who don't, listen to it at the end of November and possibly even middle of December to help you understand what this means to you. Let me start with my first card. The first card that I pulled, the question I asked was, what's the message? What's the overall message? What's the theme in the month of November that Cancerians need to pay attention to? The card of listening, which is a beautiful elephant, listening, came up in reverse. Right away, it tells me that this is a message for those of you who either feel like you have not been heard, you haven't been heard, people feel like people are not listening to you, like somehow your value is less than, you're not being listened to. This is a message for those of you who feel that way or felt that way for quite some time. This is also a message about not resisting to hear things you don't want. In particular, when you are in some sort of a situation that is needing to end and you are choosing to stall, you are choosing to stagnate, you are choosing to not deal with whatever is. My apologies, my camera keeps freezing up, and this has been happening all day yesterday. So let me just get through this, and I hope we can get it all in one piece. So for those of you who are not listening, who are at the end of a transition or at the beginning of a transition, and you're choosing not to, and your intuition is persuading you to make some changes, there's a message for those of you who need to listen in order to make something happen, in order to make a certain door close, in order to close some things behind you that you are choosing not to close. For many of you, this is a test. And actually, I'm going to go to the next card because this is exactly where it falls into. The message of graduation is one that symbolizes to me that many of you are going through a period in your life where you are about to graduate from a very important lesson. It is as if you are graduating a college or university and you are getting a degree on how to listen to my emotions, as an example. I mean, that's just an example that popped in. So in this, having said that, you may be faced with some tests in your transitions that will lure you to do things the same you have done in the past. In other words, sometimes, actually in my experience, it's always, when we are struggling with a certain aspect of ourselves, perhaps let's say somebody not listening to us, and we realize it really is because we don't feel much worth in ourselves, so we expect people not to listen to us, we expect people not to hear us because we're not very much, and you are working on yourself and you're feeling good, or you're feeling good, you're moving on, and then life presents to you a situation again, and your old patterns and your old habits are coming back and saying, pick me, pick me, pick me. And it may be something that is an easy way out of a situation, but a situation that will hurt you in the end. Not physically, obviously, but emotionally. So there is I want to say, fair warning. You might be tempted to do something you have done in the past, fall in the old patterns, resist seeing what the truth is, wanting to not see the truth. Month of November may offer some of you this test. It is important to recognize when such test is being presented. Why? Well, for one very simple reason. You don't want to do it again. You've done it before. And if you do it again in the same way, you will fall right back into your old patterns and you will find yourself back in square one. So if a relationship is in question here and you have had your share of people who are, not compatible with you for various reasons, and you notice that you keep feeling the same way in these situations, you've done some hard work, and then all of a sudden a person pops up in your life and they seem to have all the components that you're looking for, but you get to know the person and all of a sudden you realize you're starting to fall into the old patterns. You're becoming anxious, you're becoming suspicious, you're becoming judgmental, you're becoming needy, and that is when you need to go, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Why am I still doing the same thing? If you catch yourself, and chances are you will, you then will be able to go, okay, reset button. What am I needing to learn from this? Well, hopefully not to repeat the same old ways of doing things. And therefore, when you have conscious awareness of what is happening, you can begin to choose to change that. In other words, you can have a moment of clarity and go, okay, why am I feeling judgmental? Why am I feeling jealous? Well, I feel jealous because this person, looked at somebody and it stirred up old feelings in me. And in the past, I would have gotten into a huge fight and blamed the person. How dare you make me feel the way you do? You instead realize that it's not the other person that's the problem, but the problem is something inside of you. And then you decide to take a deep breath and go, okay, what am I feeling? Okay, I'm feeling hurt. Why am I feeling hurt? Because the old feelings of feeling rejected come back. However, is the person really rejecting me? No. The person just looked at another person because they were talking to each other. That's a very logical thing to do. As a matter of fact, if this person did something different, that would actually not be very nice. So you begin to talk yourself more into the logical thing, and you realize, you know what? I'm being overwhelmed. I'm overreacting. By you having that awareness, you begin to choose to transition out of the old way of being, which means your pattern is now slow. So if this is the case, and you guys noticed the video chopped again, fingers crossed. If this is the case for you, if you have some sort of a test coming to you in the month of November, it is worth remembering what you have been learning for the last little while, for some of you, the last 2 years. In other words, don't fall into the old trap, for it will not serve you. If you are eluded, or if you have this idea of longing after something, or belonging to somebody, or being a certain person, and that is what creates your identity and your self-worth, It's an illusion and it's a battle you'll never win. Why? Well, just like with the example with a partner and having relationships where you were jealous, for example. If you continue to feel the same way about you, you will always attract that to show you the reflection. In other words, look at your patterns in your past, particularly the last 2 years, and what you have learned through your challenges. And notice if a pattern emerges again at some point in November that reminds you of the feeling of, oh, here we go, I've been there again. Because it's like a stop sign. I'm seeing this like a deja vu moment. You remember. And when you remember, you come into alignment and you choose to do things differently. And at that point, you shift into a brand new lesson. Speaking of lessons, being a mentor is another message that comes up for you. So for some of you, this is a message of reminding you that you are a mentor to others, whether it is in a classical, traditional way, whether it is in a non-traditional way. Perhaps you're a speaker at church. Perhaps you are someone who's a good Samaritan, and good word and good deeds may make a lot to other people, mean a lot to other people. Perhaps you are a mentor, a psychologist, a therapist, a Reiki master, a card reader, whatever it is, where your words mean a lot to somebody, and your words come from your experience, words of encouragement. So this is a reminder for some of you. If you're struggling with a career choice, if you're asking yourself the question, what am I here for? What am I here for? What am I here for? Chances are, if you're listening to this, that there is an aspect of you that loves to help people. At the same time, it is a message that says, allow others to help you. If perhaps as you go through this transition, you were under the wings of a mentor or someone who guided you or someone who really helped you through this transition. And now you're realizing, oh my gosh, maybe this is something I want to do for others. For some of you, this is an addiction. If you have been dealing with an addiction, and I hear the words drinking, so it's going to be drinking, on other stuff. If you've been dealing with some sort of an addiction, and you've had a mentor for some time, and you are in some support groups, and you've gone through it for quite some time, perhaps there's a part of you that goes, I want to give back in the same way, and you decide to be a counselor, be a message, be someone who gives messages, whatever it is for you. You are meant to inspire others. For those of you who this makes sense, you are meant to inspire others. Your inspiration comes from your experience. And isn't it interesting that you are about to graduate from a very important lesson in your life? In other words, you've been there, done that. Whatever it is that you have accomplished, you now have the ability to change lives by helping others understand more deeply because you have gone through it and they haven't yet, or they're going through it. Always remember that your experiences are extremely valuable in terms of knowledge, and particularly those experiences where you have struggled a lot, where you have had a difficult time, where you have really been challenged with something. When you look at those moments and you derive wisdom and value from those experiences, all those things are amazing in terms of tools, skills, and guidance that can be helpful to others. Embracing transition is another message that comes up. So there's several messages here. For some of you, you have been experiencing somebody who's transitioned to the other side. This is something you're in mourning. Perhaps it happened a long time ago. Perhaps it happened not that long ago. No, this is not a prediction. It is in the past. And it has been a difficult time. Perhaps you had to go to see a counselor or a psychic or a tarot reader or a medium or a channeler or a Reiki practitioner or a psychologist to help you through these transitions. And as a result of that, you also got rid of some fears that were troubling you for a long time. But what I'm also trying to say is through just these transitions, you may have understood some things about yourself that now you want to help others with. For others of you, it is to embrace the transition that you are currently going through. It is about transitioning and about embracing the transitions that you are going through. Transitions are never easy, For transition symbolize that we are moving to something new, often something unknown, often something we're very fearful of. But life is all about changes. We cannot live in status quo, and changes are meant to help us shift and evolve. Generally speaking, it makes us better individuals. So I'm going to leave it at that. So if you are experiencing transitions in your life on whatever level, make sure that you are being kind with yourself. Make sure that you are being kind to yourself. Make sure that you are asking for help in the right moments when you need to. I asked for two more cards just to give me a little bit more understanding of what's going on. Protection is a message to me that says, as you feel like your life is up in the air, like this elephant here, you are protected. This is also connecting me to a solar plexus. For some of you, this is the area of challenge that you have been going through, whether it is your will, whether it is your strength, whether it is your power, whether it is your digestion system, whatever is located in your abdominal area or in your solar plexus, know that you are protected. For some of you, this is a straightforward message about needing to learn how to ground. Grounding is very important. It's like a battery. If it only has one end, it cannot work properly. It needs the positive and the negative charges in order to function properly. If we are stressed, if we are overburdened, if we are overworked, if we are whatever it is, we need to make sure that we practice grounding on a regular basis, because it's enough that we go through stress and then we feel completely ungrounded on top of it. I mean, can you have stress and be grounded? I'm hearing the words, yes, it takes effort, but yes, you can. Grounding also helps us deal with things in a better way. We find solutions quicker and resolutions, because when we are grounded, we're not emotionally overwhelmed. Ace of Pentacles in reverse suggests to me or tells me that some of you are about to enter a brand new relationship, a brand new job, a brand new situation in your life. But it also symbolizes to me that something is ending at the same time. Well, that's the proverbial transition. If this is the case for you, if you have been struggling with job or career opportunities, I feel those are there just around the corner. But here's what I'm being asked to say. The message about listening or not listening. For some of you, you need to start listening to your intuition, perhaps so that you can hear where it leads you in case you're confused. For some of you, you are not listening, and therefore something is coming to an end because you refuse to listen. So then the universe said, okay, we're going to do this for you. It's going to hurt a little bit, but it's going to be bam, wham, thank you, ma'am. And it's going to be done, and the dust will settle, and then you're going to see clearly, and everything is going to be okay. So particularly for those of you who have been resisting change, who have been stagnating, who have been remaining in status quo for the purpose of safety or belonging, and you guys know what I mean, chances are life is going to push you a little bit. Point is, you're protected. Always use your free will in any situation. For free will you have, that is always your choice. In other words, if you complain that you have no other choices, really, really, really ask yourself, is that really true? And although you may not have a choice that you love or like better than the one you have, the choice you have is how to look at it, how to go about it in terms of your connection to it. So there is always a choice. Some choice may be wonderful and some choice may be just getting you through it. So it's important to make sure that you know that you always have choices. Last but not least, survival fears is a message that also comes up. So a lot of this is around, well, as the card says, survival fears. It's about transitioning from fear-based behavior on whatever level, in whatever part of your life, and moving on to feel different, to feel much less cluttered by the heavy energy. Remember, Many of you are about to graduate from an important lesson, from an important program, if you will, on a spiritual level. And survival fears are things that really take us down a notch or 2 or 3 because, well, we need to survive. And look at your behaviors in terms of safety and stability. How do you acquire safety and stability? Are you looking to others to make you feel like you belong? Are you looking to the outside to make you feel like you are somebody? That's the test that you might be getting in November. If you are looking to the outside for identification of who you are, you're always going to be stuck, because you're always going to be at the peril of what the world says to you. You're not going to feel in charge. And I think that's all I want to say. I want to leave you with that. My apologies for the chopping video. Last night was full moon, so I think that's the result of it. Thank you so much for listening. If this doesn't make sense to you at the beginning of the month, listen to it at the end or even in mid-December. Chances are a majority of you will be able to apply this to your life in some way, shape, and form. My greatest wish is always to give you tools to help you understand yourself more deeply so that you can feel like you have more choices, and with choices come freedom. Thank you once again. If you would like a private session with me, that information is down below. I wish you best of luck, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.